Okay, this is a video of practice on the 18th of January. Um, the general theme of this video is about spacing and creating lanes to throw in, especially with the wings, but there are a few other things in here as well as we go through, I just point out. So it's a little bit of a mix, but that's the main focus of this video. So let's start. This is a brick. So starting from a brick position, you can see that Kevin wants to throw downfield here. He's got two lanes to throw in. The wing on the far side actually is causing a little bit of a problem here because the his defender is squashing this forehand lane that Kevin could potentially throw down. So in this situation, probably looking at this deep on this side, running across the field and getting a sort of slash cut, whilst this deep probably heads diagonally either across for front and then heads deep, just like a 3-4 sort of play. But this set of players here is narrowing this lane. To a degree, this is being narrowed slightly, but not so much. So I would really like Raymond's positioning to be a bit further back. If the poach stays, then this is an easy 1-2 with Kevin. Hopefully with momentum, so Kevin can time his throw so he can push off hard and beat his defender into the open side down the line, and then obviously he's got the two deeps to hit. He actually faces backwards, and you can see the shape is pretty good. I'd like him to look downfield a bit more, and he is starting to face backwards, but you can see that that opens up the middle space. But this positioning on the wing is still a little bit out. If in this current situation, Raymond probably has to either go back for the 1-2 or run across the field here and not head straight down the sideline. If his positioning had been where I originally wanted him to be, then he might have got the pop pass. But because he's pushed a bit further deep, now he can't receive that pass. Ends up going down the line and having just to clear out rather than being connected. Here Calvin is would have been better off still being in the handler positions, probably pushed too far downfield. He does come back, but it'd been nice to have been connected straight away. Shape is back. Good pop pass, inside out pass here, good pop pass here, just execution error on the flow resulting in turnover. So the last few passes were good and the spacing was good. Another example, you can see that Elvis is pushing his person up in order to generate space here, which is fine. I mean, the more he pushes up, the more this lane is closing, so he needs to assess the deeps and the handler positions and sort of indicate what is wanted here. Like if the disc goes back here immediately to the handler, then Elvis is probably free in this space here. But at the moment, with Sonny looking downfield, like there's two options really. The best option is Joe coming back into this space and maybe Elvis giving that space, or Elvis cutting hard up the line early before the disc is even in to give this space to the deeps. Remember, we don't have to cut on 0, we can cut on -1, -2. So a little bit of movement beforehand can happen. Ant's position here is squashing the field. So if Ant had been wider where my cursor is now, then Elvis probably wouldn't have been so close, and he could have been wider, and that would have given a bigger lane as well. So this straight line down this edge of the hex is not what we want. I don't mind Joe's positioning so much, but with Ant being here, if he was here, Elvis would be here, and then that would create a better angle for Joe and potentially for Elvis on the continuation from the handler. So you can see this is where I feel the player should be. This is where I think Elvis should be, and this is where I think Ant should be at the moment. and that would have generated a bit more space. Elvis does go up the line, but we're on 2-3 now, and should have kept his width and not be running across the field. You see that the deeps were probably free into this space, but by running across the field, the only option is that dump. The handlers pushed up as well when there was no real need, so they should be level, and then that would generate a bigger lane again for Pro2. But as this handler pushes further up, this lane is getting smaller and smaller. You can see Joe is looking back at this space, Justin is looking back at this space, Sunny Lai could run in this space, but this all hinges on this player at this moment. This player is causing a bit of an issue. Now, you probably can throw a straight throw down here, especially once this defender engages to go into the backfield, but it just makes it a harder decision for throw. There's no clear option straight away. And eventually the swing does go. Josh should really be heading hard up the line here, and trying to get this return disc. A little bit of a set should have gone really back to the handler. Let's just go back to this here. So when he does throw the disc across the field, the other thing that Justin should be looking at is either, well, he can come back hard on the continuation, but the problem is this defender is here already, so he's probably should be thinking about clearing across the field, giving the space to Elvis behind. Elvis should be giving Justin a shout. Improving our communication is one of the things that we wanted to look at, and this is one of those situations. That return pass was probably critical in this point. So the backhand goes to Ant. This pop pass needs to go, really. If this pass goes and then this continuation goes to Joe, then it relieves all the pressure. This pass here and then a continuation to here, or even to Justin, it just relieves all this pressure that's been building. Or the handler doesn't go and stays back, and then Justin gets this space. But once that happens, everything starts to narrow down. Josh sees that there's no handler, so quite rightly sort of starts running around. This throw has to be tight, it can't be floaty. It needs to be on this first red arrow rather than this outer arrow. It's more of like a swing pass, and that allows Monty to get it. Whereas if it's a hard pass or lefty into this space, then probably get away with it. Or throw the dump and go around. So really, on that last play, just a catalogue of things, and that tends to be what happens in Hex. Like, we tend to not turn over because of one particular bad cut or one particular bad move. It tends to be like 2 or 3 things. Because everyone's generally connected and there's multiple options, we tend to get away with a few sort of okay-ish decisions or even poor decisions, but they tend to build up, and then we get more and more out of position, the pressure builds, and then we turn over. Okay, at this point, Ryan's a bit late getting into position. I want you to keep an eye on Ilya as well. So Ryan's a bit late, so he gets there eventually. His positioning is generally okay. It may be a bit further downfield, trying to get rid of this poach. Needs to be wider. Handlers could be a little bit further back as well, like Alex is starting to encroach on Sunny Lai's area. And if he steps back and Alex stays there, he's going to be even freer. But Ilya, actually his positioning is pretty good at the moment, but I just want you to watch what he does and how he creeps and slowly sort of condenses the shape, squashes the shape, which is something we don't want. So Ryan, too close, needs to be wider, pull this person back, generate this lane, make it bigger. This lane is squashed as well because Ilya is creeping and creeping. He was here where this original circle was, and this creeping is taking this backhand lane smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. We want him to keep his discipline. Okay, this goes. This pop pass needs to go. I think it does go if I remember correctly. One thing Christian needs to do more is come back. The defenders switch. Oh no, they don't switch, but they separate. Christian needs to go hard here. or come back for this little inside. Sunny Lai does that, which is good, but because the handlers have pushed up quite a lot, we've now got these 3 defenders around Sunny Lai. So he has very little option but to throw the dump. So if the dumps have been a bit further back, that'd be good. Jonathan needs to keep the shape and be a handler in this situation. So he's leaving when he shouldn't leave, comes back eventually. Get a small dish into the middle. Again, Jonathan unlikely to win this race, better off holding his position. Sunny So is free to come into this space, but by Jonathan moving up into the space, it's going to bring his defender in, squashing the shape again. Sunny Lai looks off this dump, and Christian sort of half pulls out of his cut and then allows Morton to get the D. Good 1-2 to start off with. Toe probably should keep his shape here. I mean, this is a little bit in flow, so that's okay. Communication here. Cecil did shout, but probably just needs to be louder, maybe a bit earlier. Sunny Lai poaches and gets a great D. Again, right thing to do to move the disc, and Sunny Lai's clearing hard, which is great. These handlers need to stay, they push up. Sunny So is free on this side of the field, so it should be connected with, but because these handlers are pushing up, this space to throw to Sunny So is squashing. Wharton is in a position to see everything as well, and Christian's not interested in being the handler. He needs to stay and be that handler, just squashing this space. And we can see that area that Ryan tries to throw through. Execution of the throw isn't great, but because this is narrowing, I can understand why the execution might go a bit awry. His disc sort of travels along the red arrow rather than the green arrow. Wharton can see it all the way, and because it's down the red arrow, Sunny So pulls out of the catch, and D happens. Maybe it was a green arrow, Sunny So would have stepped in more and got it. Maybe not. Maybe the space was getting too squashed, but if the handlers had stayed back, then Sunny So could have received it on his left shoulder and got the disc quite easily. Sort of weird stack in the wrong place, but this is no longer hex. Ends up getting a 1-2 for the score. In a second, as Ryan walks towards Cecil, Cecil busts past him and then gets the overhead. I know Alex would have been free in that space as well. Sideline start. Straight up force. This fake, I'm not convinced about this fake. Turning his back to everybody, losing the connection. I'd prefer just do a flick fake. Get the disc into the space. Could have gone. This dump probably could be further around here, but get the disc into the middle. Communication. These 2 players should have been. One of them should have been free. And now we somehow have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 defenders all in close proximity because of these, basically because of the way these 2 happened. But actually, it does open up some switching by defense. The fact that this cut across this, I think it's Ken clearing out, really opened up the space, so that's good. Alex sees that space and gets a nice disc. Prefer him not to turn his back initially. He does fake this throw, which is probably why Garchung slows down. But Garchung is free. He should just probably keep going because he knows he's free of this person. This generates this opportunity because they're poaching for an under, but Alex has already locked eyes on Garchung, and though he's faked it and Garchung's slowing down, he still commits to throwing it. So communication, non-verbal communication about the fake, and a bit more field awareness, I guess, on that particular throw. Yeah, it's a hat. Obviously, this is a bit squashed because we're not in the middle of the field. Got the lane here. Ilya maybe could be a bit wider, or even a little bit further back. This handler, I know that we're in our end zone, but could be further back. His defender is stopping this throw to this wing, which allows Cecil to poach, which allows this lane to disappear. does throw the disc to Ilya, and Christian should come back in this spot originally. Should come back now here as well, but Sunny Live makes a good cut up the line, but this is where Christian needs to come back, but doesn't commit to coming back, just wants to go deep. Should come back again now, but Sunny So sees the space and comes back instead. Receives a good disc, it's break side, which is great. Alex starts poaching. Ryan should recognise that and be busting. Get this pop pass maybe, or even a deep strike. Sees it maybe a little bit late, jogging still rather than accelerating. Christian should again come back into this space. He's connected, he's free, should take what you're given. But Ilya coming into this space hard would have been good as well, but Christian doesn't commit to the cut, get the reset. Alex again is looking for the disc. Ryan this time spots it and heads hard deep. Christian should be coming under to get that disc. But he pulls out again, should really be getting that disc. But a good throw by Sunny, recognising that Alex had poached a bit and Ryan had seen that. Little pop pass generates the space for Christian to score. Great up the line cut. In this position, I don't think Choco is going to get the return pass. It should be pulling out. Seeing that Justin has got space, again, by continuing running, this is getting narrower, and actually this affects, I think this affects Elvis's throw, because he's going to see this player out the corner of his eye. The distance is quite small. Probably should make the throw. Maybe this angle could be a bit more towards as well, rather than out for more of a swing. It should be more direct, but misses the angle and the turnover. Fast start by white team. Nice break by Raymond. So you can get the 1-2 behind as well. So in this situation, probably not going to get this. Going to end up too close to toe, probably for a dribble. Defender's there. This way you should check and come back behind the disc here and pick up the dump and then look to throw around. Don't have to be running forwards the whole time with our 1-2s. We can also go back, especially close to the end zone. This is not bad. Like, some people would consider this like subconsciously bad that we've thrown a disc so far back. With Hex near the end zone, sometimes you have to go backwards quite a long way to generate space, so you can flow back into the end zone. Calvin turns the wrong way, but better to stay connected with his handler and the person who threw the disc by turning the other way. So this way would have been better. Players switched. Calvin, when players switch like this, look for the inside out, look for the middle space. So just stepping backwards inside middle space. Monty's pushed up too far. One of these two needs to take responsibility and see that Calvin's left. So where's this handler? Where's this? One of these is probably the hat, and one of these is the handler. Chris takes the hat position. Toe eventually takes the handler position. But it'd been better if it was a bit earlier. Good break though. Generate space. Great 1-2 by Toe. Continuation to the break side, which is good. And then Raymond picks up Calvin's interesting throw. Next point. Good catch of the pull. That was a difficult catch of the pull. We said that no blame culture. We need to catch the pull. That was a good catch of the pull. Helps us getting our flow, get this moving. Bit of a dribble, gets it back to the middle, which is good. Again, Ilya's too close, should be wider, and not involved in that particular situation. If he had stayed wider, he would now be looking at getting possibly a pop on this side, but because he came in, he's not now directly behind the disc, he's not going to have that opportunity. Now he has the opportunity because it happens to be one pass later, but it'd have been nicer to have been earlier. Gets a disc in the centre, which is good. Joe's momentum in a second is going to be moving forward as Alexis is coming back on him, which is what gives him the separation to beat his defender deep. So Alexis comes into force as Joe throws forward, and that and then Joe accelerates, which gives Joe that opportunity to score. Well, not score, get a disc down the line. So got that separation, got in front, get in position so the defender is behind, and then accelerates away. Good catch. Ryan, I reckon, should be looking to get this disc. Alex is poaching. He's going to clock the lane, get the disc. Other players should give Ryan the space, but he doesn't really want to go and get the disc behind. Other players push up. Defenders come. I liked that early disc there to have gone to Ryan. Eventually goes up the line. Ilya's coming up slowly, which is the right thing to do. Defenders poached into the space. Ilya should stay roughly where he is now, but actually pushes up into a more difficult area to hit. If he stayed behind, he could throw the disc around and no defenders can get there. But because he pushes up into this sort of space, now it's really hard to throw the disc when there's this other defender around. Deep needs to be further downfield by the time to give these two spaces to dribble. I don't mind them being a bit close, but they should definitely not be affecting the dribble. And then get one pass and a fake off, and should come back for the IO hard here. He's poached, which is what Sonny's expecting. Both these players, all three, but it's a bit of a jog. But Justin comes across and gets it. And then the 1-2, I don't know, miscommunication, hesitation. I mean, Toe sort of caught on the wrong side here, force-wise, and then comes around and Justin just slows up there. Miscommunication. Fast start by White. Misses the huck. Catch of the pool by the hat and does a bit of a dribble. I think this throw should go. I think he's free. I know there's two defenders there, but his momentum is good. This throw should go. But it gets looked off, and then another one goes to Kevin. This happens. Both ended up in a very small space. Both were trying to get this. Both made good cuts. Obviously, if communication was better, maybe that wouldn't happen. But take this throw. Kevin does exactly the right thing. I also like the fact that Kevin runs into the back dump position for an initial dump, because he knows if he gets this throw here, he can throw it around. Now the defender comes, which is fine, but that's the way to do that. If you throw a small throw, either look for that quick return or go wide. Don't necessarily run up the line on that small throw because it's not worth it. Cecil turns away, coming from Kevin. Should have stayed connected and look at this pop pass. Throws a really nice inside out though to Kevin, who continues with the flow. Gets continuation and a bit of a dribble with Alex and Walton, and then Cecil and Alex, and that opens up. Great cut by Kevin to score. Justin does the right thing here. I think that's pretty good timing. The deep threat was also there, so let's just rewind that a little bit. So his defender has just arrived and he's thrown the disc and decided, I know I'm not going to be free for a dribble. I'm the hat. I've thrown my swing throw. I'm now going to head deep hard. And if I head deep hard, best case scenario, I get a huck. Worst case scenario, I've cleared space. Middle case scenario, a deep poaches on me and gives someone else a load of space. So he goes hard. Elvis sees that cut away. There is a slight poach and Josh is actually free. And also went deep. But was 3 deep as well. So which is why Justin hesitates here. But then accelerates, and I think Ant would have got it as well. And scores the point. Hex shape is good here. Maybe something like a bit further back, but this is better. Cecil's affecting the throw less, and Jocko kept his width. This pop pass should go because of Jocko's initial position. This makes this very easy. Maybe go back straight away here. There's nothing, you can see everything upfield. Like, there is nothing upfield. All defenders are the right side. Let's reconnect with the person who just threw to you, throw it backwards straight away. I mean, in the end it does work out. Like, the defender here stops and gives an opportunity for me to run across them and get this little inside, which really helps. But I really like this disc to go back, probably. Jocko continues his cut. This should have gone, should have just been completed. This is a later point, starting in a similar position. Pop pass, flow, good. Sonny comes back into the middle, gets a pop pass, which is good, and it got cut off, but they turned over on that throw. It was poorly thrown, and there was an execution error. So this is good pop pass, but this throw goes too far in front, and that turns over. Okay. Sideline, wing start. Push back a bit. It's 2. This angle's 45 degrees, so it should be 60 degrees. Should be here. Here. This person could have got a D. If they laid out, if this was a tournament, that person lays out and gets that D. But once they commit, Jonathan has an opportunity to now go forwards and get the disc, but that's missed, mainly because there's a foul. Just rules thing. Like, Nick's positioning here on the reset, he was involved in this foul. If we just rewind it a little bit. So this foul happens here, and Nick is next to the play. The disc is in the air, so it's just before that. But actually, when the disc gets reset, Nick is in the wrong place. He should be over here. Which means Josh loses his opportunity to throw to Jonathan. Handlers need to be coming back at this point. Joe communicates that. Gets in a good position. That should continue to Jocko. Let's call it facing Jocko. Facing Jocko should keep that connection. I mean, this isn't bad. Like, the idea that So is coming back in this space, it's fine. It's pivoted well, but the execution is a bit off because of a foul call, I think, if I remember correctly. And it goes to Sunny line. There's a foul on the throw, so it goes back, and then continue again later. Dribble, turned away from the dribble player. So this gets thrown to Ryan, and it turns away straight away. It's not what we're trying to do. The handlers are too far up as well. This should go back to Sonny. He's free as well. Like, he's going to have free shot to anyone going deep. If there was people going deep, can do 1-2s with Jonathan at the moment because Jonathan hasn't got a mark. This should go to Sonny. Not following the fundamentals that we need to follow. Handlers are too far up, as I just said. They need to be further back to give lane. Jocko is not available because of the handlers. Jocko probably should have been wider as well. Does get a distance to Josh coming back. This is probably the most common cut from a deep coming back from that side of the field. Should be looking to pop the pass back to Ryan. Ryan's beating his defender. Ryan decides to go to break side, I think, and that's okay. Just need to pop that, but not doesn't get his hands properly or doesn't look at it. Throw this to Choco, then run hard down the line. That should go. He's done the right thing. He's run hard down the line. This pass should go to back to Josh. Handler's probably a little bit too far up again. Toe affects the backhand. Shouldn't affect the backhand. Does the right thing though when Choco sees that toe's affecting the backhand, throws the dump. This should now go around or into the middle. Or throw this to Jonathan and then get the return. All a bit messy now on this side of the field. Okay, throw to Ilya, head up the line hard. Or at the moment there's no one here, so just head up the line. Doesn't. Sunny Lai comes back, should go to Sunny Lai, and Choco should be thinking about the continuation on this wing position, deep position. Ryan's 3 into the middle of the field, so she could keep going. And it gets called up, whistle got blown by Wharton for Handler's positioning not being great. Next point. One twos, dribbling should happen here. Looks like Elvis's person, or it might even be Ryan's person, is going to get there first. But there should be a few dribbles. It does wait. Oh, it is Ryan's person, runs past, but gets one dribble, then heads deep properly, which is good. This is what we want to see. And then Christian should be using this to his advantage to come back into this space. And then there's another cut on the far side coming back. They get swung, which is fine. Now these two players should be thinking about filling out that side of the field, generating the middle of the field for Christian. Come back to the middle, but the disc is behind, gets dropped. Execution really. Some dribbling, 2 passes, 3 passes maybe. Christian and Justin coming under. It's always, I always feel that the break side gets priority in this sort of slash cut. It's an easier cut to hit. Christian does pull out eventually, but pulling out earlier would have given a bit more space. Ant comes back on that side, which is fine, which is a good cut. Christian comes back, but gets looked off, probably not free enough, and then it gets all a bit clustered and turns over. So I feel when Ant gets this disc, Sunny So is right to come around, but stop there. Like, stop 60 degrees rather than going around. Does get win up the line, but a bit late. Christian does use his body well to get disc and then pops it off to Sunny So. Sunny So does the right thing and getting the dump early. He needs to get out now though. Ended up, I probably wasn't expecting the return pass that quickly, and ends up right in front of the disc with his defender, so should clear sideways, and it does do that eventually. All the defenders here, as Sunny Lai turns around, are all in good positions, so this is where either Ant communicates or Elvis comes back and gets this early dump. But what ends up happening is it takes us a couple of seconds, and then Ant, instead of staying in this position, ends up drifting in field, allowing his defender to come and take the space. So he drifts in field, should just stay still. It would give Sunny So this space as well, but drifts too far. Defender gets the angle and gets the D. Throw could have been better, obviously. Keep going deep. So the initial throw there was good, but initial throw was good. Then throw back. The defender's quite close. Just go hard, go harder. Don't stop. Continuation's good. 2 players go into the same disc. This defender overcommits multiple times in this point. Needs to think about containing, not trying to get every single disc. Just gets broken. Loads. 1 good 1-2s, again because the defender is just overcommitting. Good lefty backhand here, releases a load of pressure, and then Jonathan throws an interesting throw for the score. Ant's probably pushed up a little bit too far, should be behind the disc to receive this first pass. If you go and look at Wharton's dribbling video, talking about catching the disc going forwards, not backwards. So does exactly the right thing and goes hard, and that gives him the space to come back under and get this nice disc from Christian. And an execution error, I should have caught that disc. Right cut, just poor execution. Great pull by Justin on this point. Catches by the hat. Called it low down. Probably should have get this disc back. But because body position etc. probably misses it. Post dump was the correct thing to do. This is a great little throw. This really helps open up the field because releasing after half a second, 2 players into that space. Now dribbling can curb. Doesn't really want the second dribble though. Chris does a 1-2 with Cecil. Breaks the force, keeps the disc moving, which is great. Calvin comes back, a bit clustered, but okay. Moves the disc quickly. Should get 1-2, play a switch, makes a short break, gets the pop. Great, good dribbling. And then everyone's focused on the dribbling and the movement around the disc, and the deep gets free for a great huck. Some dribbling, it's better dribbling. Kevin should go there though. Gets the IO though, breaks, which is good. Gets the 1-2, great throw by Alex there, great throw by Kevin there, front of the defense rather than behind, and then Wharton wins the race. Alex's dump position here is poor. It needs to be slightly this side of the line and not too far. We saw an instance earlier where players went too far and then the dump finds it hard to throw to them. Like players are ending up over here and defenders coming in, but can't attack up the line unless you're going to get this straight away, because where the defender is, then that's okay, but if the defender's in the way, you should just stop and come back around here. In this particular situation, and as Wharton wins the race, defender should use their body there, not allowing him to do that, but good cut. Good catch of the pull again. Good spacing on this. This is the best spacing. Maybe because the pull was a bit shorter, but the defenders have got down. This wing is wide. The handlers are back, and just look how much space these players have to play with initially. Triangle is big. This triangle is big. Yeah. Does exactly the right thing here and looks for the inside out rather than running deep, because this player is already running deep. Maybe same 30, but a good touch on the throw to get the score. Great pull. I'd like that 1-2 to happen a bit quicker maybe. Clears to the middle, but a bit of clogging. So Monty gets told to go and handle. Didn't want to handle, but does here. Again, doesn't really want to be in that corner, but ends up in the corner. And then this is the pass we were practicing at the drill. This inside out throw, and it makes all the difference. Now he's free for that pass, which also we practiced in the drill before this practice, like throwing that flick to the deep coming across and then accelerating out. Defender's caught directly behind, gets the dribbling going, and again everyone's focusing on the dribbling, allows a deep to sneak deep. Raymond to sneak deep. Raymond allows Raymond to sneak deep and get the easy score. Catches the ball, dribble. Should have probably gone twice. Good cut by Kevin, under, gets continuation. Codring needs to run across the field here. Not going to get hucked to over his head. He needs to change direction, look for the inside out, and allow the deep space for this player over here. The player does come back on the open side and gets the disc. Now Codring has run across the field, which is good, and the deep space is there for toe. Toe should be running along the green line, but he runs along the red line, making it a harder throw. If he runs along the green line, this is an easier throw for Cecil. I mean, probably should have completed it anyway, but small things can make a big difference. Wing not connected. These two are going to dribble. This wing should be recognising that they're not going to be involved, should be going wider. Spacing is not as good as earlier, they're all a bit closer. You can see that's the halfway down the centre of the field. You can see that this wing is nearly on halfway. So should be wider now. Gets 1-2. Again, looking at our spacing, like handler, wing virtually on halfway, deep virtually on halfway. We need to keep our space on that half of the field that we're not on. Great throw here though. Handler should go back. Gets the disc, gets a pop pass. Handler should be staying back further. Toe does the right thing. Well, Toe could stay back here. I mean, he's got momentum, so maybe he should go forwards. Looking for this inside throw, facing this direction. Good throw. Probably not going to win this race. Defender's in the right place. Head to the dump space rather than running through. And Calvin can give the space. Again, if you look at the centre line, all our players are on one side of the field pretty much. So need to work at that spacing. And because Nick didn't stay as a handler, the whistle went. In front on the dribble, good hard cut though deep, but hasn't beaten the last defender. You can't huck until the last defender has been beaten. Doesn't spot the last defender. Should have got an easy under to Cecil, and then Cecil might have been able to huck it to him. Tough for the defence because the pull went out and another disc came in from this side of the field, so they're all out of position initially. I mean, they do pretty well to recover eventually, but it just takes a bit of time. And White do take advantage. Spacing is good though, and execution error on that dump pass. So there's lots of incidences in that video of spacing being poor, handlers pushing too far up, wings squashing the field by being too close when they're not involved. So we need to keep that in mind as we keep practicing and increasing our spacing a lot better. Hope that video helped. I'll see you at practice next time.